Don't look away. Look at me. You walk the earth like a sleepwalker. You stumble over furniture, weep over circumstances, and bow before facts that you yourself created. You came here wanting to know how to change the reflection in the mirror, but you keep polishing the glass, hoping the image will smile first. What arrogance, and what ignorance. Listen closely. The world you call reality, this world of concrete, of numbers, of diagnoses, and of I can't, is nothing more than a collective hallucination. It's a shadow. And are you afraid of a shadow? Do you ask a shadow for permission to move? Do you think the walls around you are solid? They are vapor. They are merely the hardened echo of thoughts you had yesterday, last month, years ago. You are a slave to a dead memory. Today, that ends. I am not here to give you hope. Hope is for the weak who wait for a future that never arrives. I am here to give you the law. There is an internal posture, a silent command that, if sustained with the coolness of steel, compels the visible world to bend. It is not magic. It is hierarchy. The reality out there is submissive. It is desperate for a command, but it does not obey desires. It obeys who you are. If you have the courage to ignore what your eyes see now, and the audacity to assume what must be, then stay. But know one thing. The man or woman who entered this room cannot leave it. That old you, addicted to suffering and believing in your senses, must die here and now. We are about to wake up. Take a deep breath. The command begins now. The first shackle you carry, which binds you to this small life you insist on living, is your blind worship of your senses. You are addicted to what you see, what you hear, and what you touch. You call these facts. You point to your empty bank statement, your ailing body, or your lonely home and say, "But Abdullah, this is real, I can't ignore it." And I tell you, you are an idolater of appearances, and as long as you bend your knees before what your eyes show you, you will be a slave to the past. Understand once and for all, your senses are historians, not prophets. What your eyes see now is not the present, it is the fossilized past. It is the trail left by who you were yesterday, by what you imagined and felt months ago. The visible world is always delayed. When you react to bad news or a difficult circumstance, you are validating an echo, giving new life to something that should already be dead. To take control, you need to develop the coolness to deny the evidence of your senses. This requires fierce discipline. If your reason says it's impossible, and your senses show it's not there but you desire it to be, who is lying? Your senses. You must learn to withdraw your attention from the world out there. Physical reality is just a stubborn mirror. If you are wounded and keep looking at the wound, checking if it's still there, you keep it alive. You feed it with your attention. Healing, wealth, or love can only enter when you stop looking at their absence. Close your eyes to what the world calls truth. Go within. If the world says you are poor, you shut the door of your senses, and in the silence of your mind, you walk with the dignity of a king. You feel the weight of gold, the texture of luxury, the security of abundance. And you do this until the outer world seems pale and false compared to the vividness of what you feel within. Don't argue with facts. Don't fight against them. Simply ignore them as one ignores a dog barking in the distance. Truth is not what you touch with your hands. Truth is what you sustain in your imagination. As long as you need to see to believe, you will continue to stumble in darkness. Learn to believe, and your eyes will be forced to see. Before we move on to the next point, let me tell you something that can greatly accelerate your transformation. There is a powerful, straight-to-the-point material that has changed many people's lives. It shows in a practical and structured way how to use visualization and the law of attraction to switch from waiting mode to manifesting mode. You will learn to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions to attract exactly what you desire. Whether it's more financial freedom, healthy relationships, or a life with greater purpose and ease. It's not loose theory, nor empty motivational talk. It's real application with real results. If you feel it's time to stop merely dreaming and finally start living what you deserve, this could be your next step. The link is in the pinned comment. Click, explore, and see what has already begun to happen in the lives of those who decided to truly commit. Now then, let's move on to the next point. Now that you have closed your eyes to the lie of the world out there, we need to correct the fatal error that poisons your time and kills your desire before it even takes birth. Your addiction to the future. How many times do I need to repeat it? Tomorrow is the refuge of fools. You live projecting your realization to a date that never arrives on the calendar. You say, I will be rich, I will get better, I hope to find love. And the law, in its cold and exact impartiality, responds only one thing. Understood. You will be. You hope. But you are not. By saying I want, you are screaming to the universe I don't have. The confession of a future desire is the confirmation of present scarcity. And reality does not bow to what you want. It reflects only what you are. You need to have the audacity to bring the future into the tundo now. There is no time for consciousness. Everything that has ever existed or will exist is present in this exact moment, vibrating at frequencies you haven't yet tuned into because you are too busy waiting. Change doesn't happen in time. It happens in the state of being. You don't walk towards your desire, you walk from it. This demands a radical shift in internal posture. Ask yourself now, if I were already the man or woman I dream of being, how would I feel this very second? Don't think about tomorrow. Feel it now. If your desire were an accomplished fact, would the anxiety in your chest still be there? No, it would give way to a deep relief, a calm satisfaction. Where is that relief? Produce it. Invoke it. Put on the skin of your new self now. If you were the person you desire to be, your breathing would be different. Your posture in the chair would be different. Your thoughts would not be of seeking, but of possession. Stop treating your goal as a distant destination. Occupy it. Own it. Is it an act of divine usurpation? Perhaps, but the throne is empty, waiting for whoever has the courage to sit on it. As long as you say it will happen, you keep the desire on the end of a stick, always ahead, unreachable. Cut the cord of time. Dare to say in the unbreakable silence of your mind, I am that. It is done. And sustain this truth not as a hope, but as a fact you know and the world will yet discover. Live in the end. Breathe from the end. The present is the only moment where power exists. Use it. Here we arrive at the point where your rational mind becomes your worst enemy, the most stubborn obstacle you need to tear down. You've defined what you want. You've even tried to feel that you already are it. But then, like a meddlesome and anxious administrator, you commit the fatal error. You look around and ask the question that aborts the miracle. But how will this happen? You look at your limited resources, your lack of connections, the cold and statistical logic of the world, and you start trying to draw up a plan. You try to force doors, manipulate people, calculate the steps. And I tell you with all the severity of one who knows the law, that is none of your concern. Understand your position in the hierarchy of creation. You are the legislator, not the architect of the work. The arrogance of believing that your small, conscious intellect needs to figure out the way is what keeps you stuck in the same place year after year. You do not have the capacity to see the infinite, complex, and invisible web of coincidences that reality can weave in a snap of the fingers. By trying to dictate the how, you are limiting infinite possibilities to only what you already know. And what you know is very little. The means, the way the desire materializes, belongs to the unfathomable depths of the law. It is not for you to know which pieces will be moved on the board. Your job, the only job that is yours and which you insist on neglecting, is to remain anchored in the end. Think about this. If your desire were already reality, would you be worried about the steps that led you there? No, you would simply be enjoying the accomplished fact. One who has already arrived is not concerned with the path. One who knows what they are does not ask how it will be. If you have the courage to assume the end with total conviction, a bridge of incidents will automatically materialize beneath your feet. Strange occurrences will come. People you've never seen will cross your path. Unexpected situations, perhaps even moments that seem like crises, will happen to violently push you in the right direction. To the untrained eye, it will look like luck or chance. But you will know the truth. It was the inevitable unfolding of the state you silently assumed. Stop trying to help creation. It does not need your sweaty help. It needs your firm command. And the command is the end. If you are worried about the how, you have left the state of certainty and returned to the state of hope. And hope creates nothing. Abandon the calculator. Throw away human logic. Go straight to the handshake, to the signed contract, to the ring on your finger. Live there, reside in the end, and let life in its mysterious and automatic wisdom build the road to you. The how is the law's problem. Your problem is simply to maintain the faith that it is already done. You are a traitor to your own cause. This is the exact reason why you fail and will continue to fail if you do not correct your posture now. You have moments of lucidity, instances where you manage to capture the feeling of realized desire, but you are as inconstant as the wind. You are a spiritual adulterer. At night, protected by silence, you assume you are prosperous, that you are loved, that you are healthy. You sleep with that idea. But as soon as the sun rises and the world shouts its usual problems, you abandon your ideal and run back into the arms of your old miserable reality. You react, you get scared, you argue with the shadow, and at that exact moment, you abort the miracle that was being conceived in the depths of your being. The law is impersonal, but it demands absolute fidelity. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be the giant in your imagination and the worm in your daily conversation. Each time you complain, each time you feel sorry for yourself, each time you validate an external obstacle with fear or anger, you are destroying the work you did in silence. You are telling the universe, I was just kidding. This is who I really am. If you have decreed that you are a successful person, momentary failure out there shouldn't even register in your consciousness. If someone insults you, but you have decreed that you are respected, that insult finds no landing in you. It passes through you like smoke, because there is no correspondence within. But if you get offended, if you fight, you have just confessed that you are still the old you. You have fallen from the state. And whoever falls must get up and return immediately without guilt, but with redoubled firmness. The persistence I demand from you is not the physical effort of battling through life. It is the mental discipline of not allowing yourself to be moved. It is the sacred stubbornness of remaining in the chosen state, no matter what the news, your family, or your bank account say. Think of this as a seed. When you plant a seed in the dark earth, you don't go back the next morning and dig up the soil to see if it has rooted. If you do that, you kill it. You trust that nature will do the work in the dark. Why don't you have that same trust with your own mind? Have you assumed the state? Good. Now silence your senses and maintain your posture. Walk through the valley of shadows without fear, not because the shadows have vanished, but because your inner light has changed. If the evidence of your senses denies your desire, ignore it with disdain. Sleep in conviction night after night. Do not look for signs of improvement. External reality has no choice but to harden and mold itself to the form you sustain with unwavering loyalty. But it will only do so if you do not abandon your post at the first storm. We come to the last key, the one most of you miss, because you are too busy romanticizing your own dreams. You fail because you treat your desire as an idol, something special, distant, and too grand for someone like you. You look at wealth, healing, or recognition and sigh, thinking, that would be amazing, that would be a miracle. And as long as you treat it as a miracle, you will keep it at bay. The universe does not respond to your worship of desire. It responds to your naturalness in possessing it. The law has a defense mechanism. It repels everything alien to your self-image and attracts only what is familiar to you. If your desire causes you excessive excitement, anxiety, or that I can't believe this is happening feeling, you are not yet ready for it. You still see it as something external, separate from you. Think of the clothes you are wearing now. Are you thrilled to have shoes on your feet? Do you walk down the street crying with gratitude because you have a shirt on your body? No. You don't even think about it. It's natural. It's yours. It's part of who you are. You feel comfortable in its possession. It is exactly this level of naturalness that you must achieve with your greatest desires. Do you want to be rich? Then stop treating money as an unreachable deity. In your imagination, bring wealth so close that it becomes common. Feel the weight of responsibility, the routine of signing large checks, the normality of abundance. The rich person doesn't become euphoric when paying a bill, they simply pay. The healthy person doesn't celebrate every breath, they simply live. You need to take your desire off the pedestal, break the psychological distance. As long as you say, wow, that would be wonderful, you are confessing that it is not normal for you, and what is not normal The subconscious rejects. It spits it out like a foreign body. The final secret is familiarity. You must visit your desired state in your imagination so many times, feel it so often, that when you return to the physical world, the strange thing will be not having it. The imagined state must become your old comfortable home, and the current world the foreign land. Make it common, make it mundane, make it yours. When mental possession is as natural as the air you breathe, without fireworks, without hysteria, just with the calm certainty of this is how things are, then, and only then, will physical reality have no choice but to solidify around you. Stop dreaming of the extraordinary. Make the extraordinary your new normal. You have heard the law. You have understood the principles, but make no mistake. To know the truth and not live it is the worst form of ignorance. What we've discussed here is not philosophy to be debated at bar tables. It is a death sentence for your old self. From the moment you walk out that door, you will face the real test. The world out there will scream your old limitations. Your senses will beg you to return to being a victim of circumstances. The choice is brutal, and it is yours. Will you continue to be a passive reflection of the chaos out there, or will you take command and order reality to obey you? Remember, it is not luck, it is not chance, it is not privilege. It is a cold and constant decision. Each time you visualize, act, and trust, you are laying a brick in the construction of your new life. Don't come to me tomorrow asking, why didn't it work? It only doesn't work for those who give up, for those who are unfaithful to the assumed state. If you have the audacity to persist, signs will appear. Doors that seemed like concrete walls will open, and you will look back and say, I did it. I cannot walk for you. No one can. But if you are truly tired of crawling and are ready to master this art with discipline, if you want the exact step-by-step map to force your mind to obey within the next 30 days, the path is outlined in the pinned comment. Do not click out of curiosity. Curiosity is for the weak. Click only if you are ready to kill who you were and be born as who you desire to be. Now go. And don't look back. It is done. Close your eyes. Before I say a word, notice what's moving inside you right now. There's something vibrating, an ancient, forgotten, yet living force. The universe is calling your name. Not the name the world knows, but the name you've always had. Creator. And today, it comes with a warning. An urgent call. A transfer has been prepared. Not just of money, but of power, abundance, and dominion. The symbol is $110,000, but the true value is the awakening of who you are. You still believe that money is out there, in the hands of others, in circumstances, in the cold numbers of a bank account. But the universe laughs at this illusion. Everything external is just the echo of what you've already assumed within yourself. No bank moves a coin without something moving first in consciousness. No destiny changes without a new state being inhabited. Everything starts with you. When Neville said that imagination creates reality, he wasn't speaking in metaphors. He was talking about a law as exact as gravity. The invisible is the matrix. The visible is just the reflection. The cause is never on the outside. The world doesn't react to what you do, but to what you are. And if inside you there's still the man who waits, the world will continue to make you wait. But if inside you is born the man who possesses, the world will have no choice but to deliver. Today, the universe invites you to an act of courage. Stop asking and start claiming. Stop looking at bank statements and start looking within. The real transfer of $110,000 is the moment you assume, with absolute faith, that everything you desire is already yours, and feel it as a present fact. It's the instant you stop being the beggar and become the heir. The universe doesn't transfer to those who doubt. It transfers to those who assume. And when you truly assume, the visible world will bow to your new identity. Not because the money came to you, but because you became the kind of being that money seeks. You still believe you need to see to believe, but the universe, my child, doesn't operate on the logic of the senses. It responds to what you assume is real, even when everything around you still screams the opposite. While most people pray for external signs, true creators understand that the only sign needed is the inner feeling of possession. That's what moves worlds. That's what makes the invisible become visible. Assuming the state is becoming what you desire, even if the mirror of life shows the opposite. It's internally wearing the clothes of what already is, even if the world still sees you naked of evidence. When you say, "I am abundance manifested," you're not describing a desire, you're issuing an order. You're declaring to the universe who you've decided to be, and the universe, which is just the reflection of your consciousness, reorganizes itself to confirm that decision. But here's the secret that few understand. Assuming a state isn't repeating words, it's sustaining the feeling. It's not saying, "I am rich," while inside there's fear, lack, anxiety. The word without emotion is like a seed thrown on stony ground. Nothing grows. Imagination, united with feeling, is the fertile ground of creation. When you feel as if it's already true, you move invisible forces. You open doors that logic could never unlock. That's why the masters always taught the power of silence. The true creator doesn't announce their states. They live discourse them. They wake up each morning as one who already possesses. They walk among others as one who has already received. They don't look for signs. They are the sign. That's the difference between the common man and the awakened man. The first reacts to life, the second commands it. As long as you live expecting something from the outside, you'll remain a slave to appearances. But the moment you understand that the visible world is just a screen where your imagination projects what you sustain within yourself, everything changes. Money, love, opportunities, none of that comes from the outside. Everything comes from within, and the world just obeys, assuming the state is taking possession of your divine inheritance. It's leaving the position of beggar and sitting on the throne of creator. It's declaring, in silence and certainty, "I am." And the universe, which never argues with someone who knows what they are, just responds, "Amen." Because creation ends the moment you assume. The rest is just the natural unfolding of what has already been decreed in consciousness. Money, success, abundance, it all already exists. It's just waiting for you to believe enough to call them by the right name. Mine. Everything that is invisible obeys the call of consciousness. Nothing has its own will. Every form, every person, every circumstance is just a messenger of the state you sustain within yourself. Life has no choice, it reflects, and that's why doubt is the greatest thief of creation. When you doubt, you cancel the order. When you fear, you reverse the deposit. But when you believe with serene conviction without needing proof, the entire universe conspires to deliver exactly what you've already assumed as yours. The obedience of the invisible is perfect. It's like a shadow that follows the body. It doesn't decide, it just reflects. When you imagine with faith, you're issuing an order in the invisible field, and that order doesn't get lost, doesn't get confused, doesn't fail. It travels until it finds a way to materialize, even if it needs to move people, places, and events for that. That's why when you change inside, everything changes outside. And when you remain the same, the world also remains the same, because it's the mirror of your state. Have you ever noticed how when you're at peace the day seems lighter, people are kinder and solutions appear easily? And how when you're restless, everything seems to conspire against you? That's not coincidence, it's obedience. The universe doesn't respond to your words but to your vibration. The energy you emit is the silent order that shapes your reality. The invisible doesn't understand haste, but it understands certainty. Certainty is the language of the gods. It's the faith that doesn't need explanation. When you assume, for example, "I am prosperous," the invisible doesn't question, doesn't argue, doesn't analyze your bank account. It just obeys, creating bridges that connect your declaration to the corresponding manifestation. And even when you don't see anything happening, know this: there's movement, there always is. Therefore, never be deceived by the appearance of delay. Time is just the interval between the planting of faith and the harvesting of form. And if you sustain the image until the end, the invisible will be forced to bow to your conviction. No true request made in consciousness remains unanswered. So stop begging for signs and start emanating orders. Stop asking the world for permission to live what is already yours. The invisible is your servant. It awaits instructions. And every thought, every emotion, and every word you repeat is a command, that it executes with absolute precision. So choose what to emanate. Speak little, feel more, and remember, the universe doesn't argue with those who know, it just obeys. For the new state to be born, the old one needs to die. That's the law. No man can serve two masters. You can't inhabit the consciousness of abundance while still identifying with the character of lack. The universe doesn't transfer wealth to those who still see themselves as poor. It only confirms the identity you sustain. That's why many try to change their lives but remain trapped in the same destiny, because they try to take the old self into the new state. The death of the old self isn't a sad event. It's liberation. It's the moment you say goodbye to the limited image you've built of yourself. The man who waited to be chosen dies, and the one who chooses is born. The one who asked for signs dies, and the one who creates the signs awakens. This death is silent but powerful. It happens every time you deny the temptation to return to the old identity. When faced with a problem, you decide not to react as before, but to respond from the new state. It's not easy because the old self fights to survive. It whispers, "Look at the facts, see the bills, see what's missing." And that's where the real spiritual test begins. You're not called to ignore reality. You're called to transform it. And to do that, you need to die to the world of the senses and be born into the world of consciousness. That's what Christ meant when he said, "Whoever loses their life for my sake will find it." Losing life means abandoning the limited identity, the little self, and assuming the I am, which is the creative power itself. When you renounce the old narrative, "I can't let things never change, but it's not for me," the universe can finally deliver what has always been yours. This death isn't something you do once, it's a daily exercise. Every time the old mind tries to take control, you silence it with the reminder, "That's not me anymore." And you return to the assumed state, even without proof, even without signs. Because who you are in consciousness matters more than what the world shows. And then, little by little, the old dissolves. The old limitations disappear, circumstances bow, and the new self, who has always been waiting for space, takes the throne. That's when the impossible becomes natural. That's when the old struggle turns into flow. That's when you realize that death was never the end. It was just the beginning of a life lived from the truth. You are, and always have been, the creator of your reality. Anticipatory gratitude is the seal of creation completed. When you give thanks before seeing, you declare to the universe that you've already received. It's the supreme gesture of faith. The common man gives thanks after the miracle. The Creator gives thanks before, because he knows that the miracle is just the shadow of the state he already inhabits. Giving thanks is the most silent way of saying, "I trust," and trust is the vibration that opens the floodgates of the invisible. Observe. When you feel lack, the heart contracts, and the world responds with contraction. But when you feel gratitude, even without apparent reason, the heart expands. And the universe, obedient, sends more reasons for that expansion to continue. It's a law. Everything you recognize as yours with a feeling of gratitude grows. Everything you lament, you push away. Most people pray with despair, and despair is the language of absence. True prayer is a celebration. It's the thank you said in a soft voice, as one who is already certain. Therefore, when you imagine what you desire, whether it's money, love, health, or peace, always end with gratitude. Close your eyes and say internally, "Thank you because it's already mine." Feel the body respond. Feel the relief. Feel the weight fall away. That feeling is the very sign that the invisible has begun to move. Gratitude is also an antidote against doubt. It's impossible to give thanks and doubt at the same time. When the heart vibrates in gratitude, there's no room for fear. And it's in that state that the invisible finds fertile ground to flourish. It's like the sun warming the seed. The heat doesn't make the sprout appear immediately, but it guarantees that it will be born. Therefore, don't wait to see the deposit to give thanks. Give thanks and the deposit will come. Don't wait for the doors to open to feel joy. Feel joy and the doors will open. The universe responds to energy, not to need. The grateful one stands on top of the mountain and says, "Everything already is." The desperate one kneels in the valley and says, "When will it be?" The first creates, the second begs. Anticipatory gratitude is the secret password of those who master the law. It's the energetic signature of the conscious creator. Every time you give thanks with faith, you're signing the receipt of what the universe has already dispatched in your direction. And even if it hasn't reached your eyes yet, know this: it's on its way. The visible world only adjusts to deliver what has already been decreed in consciousness. So give thanks now. Give thanks as one who already lives the result. Feel the joy of one who possesses, and realize, in the exact moment that the feeling is real, reality begins to reorganize itself. Because gratitude isn't a response, it's creation. True mastery lies in silent discipline. It's the point where many fail, because they want to manifest like gods, but live reacting like servants to appearances. The conscious creator doesn't rush, doesn't argue, doesn't explain. They sustain. And sustaining is remaining firm, even when the world seems to say no. It's continuing to affirm in silence. It's already mine, while the visible still denies. Here it's choosing faith when fear screams, and the invisible in response bows. Silent discipline is the art of protecting your inner state. You shouldn't expose what you're creating to the doubt of others. Every word thrown towards disbelief is a crack in the vessel where your faith is being molded. That's why the ancients said, "Create in secret, and the Father who sees in secret will reward you in public." The world doesn't need to know what you're generating. It will only see the result. The undisciplined man talks too much, observes little, and changes state at the slightest sign of contradiction. Today he feels rich. Tomorrow, seeing a bill due, he returns to the consciousness of lack. This oscillation destroys the seed. The disciplined creator, on the contrary, is constant. He can look at chaos and still say, "Everything is well." He can be surrounded by contrary evidence, but his heart remains serene because he knows that the invisible is working in his favor. Silence isn't omission, it's concentrated power. It's the interval where the invisible organizes the pieces of the game. It's in this quiet space that faith strengthens and creation solidifies. Every time you resist the temptation to explain, to justify, to doubt, you reinforce your inner decree. The material world is slow, but the spiritual is immediate, and it's your constancy that connects the two. Discipline is also a daily choice, choosing the thought that nourishes the state, rejecting the emotion that weakens it, keeping attention on what already is. This requires courage, because the world will try to drag you out of silence with noises of fear, scarcity, and haste. But if you resist, you'll see that little by little, reality begins to obey your calm. He who masters silence masters form. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's the womb where everything is gestated. And when creation is completed within, the external world only confirms. Therefore, guard your thoughts as one who guards a treasure. Don't rush to speak of what you're forming. Just feel, believe, and remain. The day will come when what was invisible will become inevitable. And when everyone asks, "How?" you'll smile in silence because you'll know. It was the discipline of the invisible that moved mountains, transferred wealth, and shaped destinies. The power was never in the noise, it was always in the silence that creates. Now you know, the universe has never been against you. It was only waiting for the moment when you remembered who you are. Everything you've lived until now has been just the reflection of the state you inhabited and nothing more. The poverty, the delay, the closed doors, the failures, all that was the mirror of a self that doubted its own power. But today that self dies and another is born. The one who doesn't ask, the one who doesn't fear, the one who orders. You weren't created to beg for miracles, but to decree them. The universe is your servant, not your master. It doesn't decide what happens to you, it only confirms what you sustain in consciousness. That's why the change doesn't start in the world, but within. When you change the state, you change the destiny. When you change the feeling, you change the scenario. The external is just the echo of the internal. So, from this moment on, stop waiting. Stop kneeling before appearances. Stop chasing after what by law is already yours. Assume the state of the end. Feel the result as present, not as a promise. Act, speak, and breathe as one who already possesses. The universe doesn't distinguish faith from fact. It only reproduces what you are. Close your eyes and imagine. The transfer has already been made. The amount is in your account. The value is before you, and everything around you begins to respond to this new vibration. Feel the lightness, the security, the silent joy of one who finally remembers that the power has always been within. And realize, in the instant that the feeling is real, reality begins to bow. You no longer need to beg for external changes. The order has been given. Consciousness has obeyed. Creation has been completed. From now on, walk as one who knows that the universe doesn't give, it confirms, and that the only thing that still separated you from abundance was your hesitation to believe. Today, that hesitation ends. Today, you rise as heir to the infinite, and the universe in silence only responds, "All that is yours is already yours." You look around and believe that destiny is a roulette wheel, that random events accumulate and decide the course of life. But I tell you with all authority, there is no luck, no chance, no whim of external forces casting your paths to the wind. What you are experiencing now at this very moment is merely the echo of a decree already made within you, often without realizing it. Life is like a faithful mirror that invents nothing on its own. It merely reflects, with absolute precision, what consciousness has delivered to it as a model. And that is why a single word, when understood and used with conviction, can completely transform your reality in a matter of hours. The word is Amen. But not as you have been using it, as a formal period at the end of your prayers. Amen is not a farewell. It is not a religious formula. It is not an empty ritual. Amen is a seal. It is the invisible signature that closes doubt and opens certainty. It is the final hammer blow that drives the decree into the invisible. So it is confirmed, it has already happened. You pronounce it without thinking, but within it lies an ancient and unbreakable law. Everything sealed with Amen must manifest. Not because the external world wills it, but because the invisible has already accepted it as fact. Imagine a contract being signed in front of witnesses. When the pen touches the paper and the signature is made, no one discusses whether it will happen. It is signed. It is sealed. It is only a matter of time before the effects are felt. The same occurs with the conscious use of Amen. You can no longer use this word as if closing a lifeless prayer. You must use it as if stamping approval on your desired reality. If your heart asks for prosperity, do not say maybe someday. If the natural mind demands proof, do not engage in debates. Simply declare Amen. And there, at that instant, invisible life moves to organize the threads of reality in favor of what has been sealed. You need to understand that the natural mind is like a restless child, always asking for signs, always asking, has it arrived? Is it coming? But every time you say Amen, you silence it. You say, it is done. Ask me no more. This is the key to attracting within 24 hours what once seemed distant, because the universe cannot resist a decree sealed with conviction. It has no choice. It must obey the internal state that has already been affirmed. Do not treat Amen as an empty sound. Treat it as a sword. Each time you pronounce it silently or in a low voice, you are engraving into the invisible the certainty that what you desire already belongs to you. And when this is done consciously, the mind begins to change its stance. The body reacts. You move as one who already possesses. And in this state, everything accelerates, everything approaches, everything bows to the decree. You were not born to beg. You did not come to earth to implore external forces to decide for you. You came to decree. The power was given to you, but many waste it with doubts, with prayers of despair, with weightless words. Use Amen as a seal. Say Amen and let life do the rest. You will see money, opportunities, and miracles arrive unexpectedly, because the invisible cannot withstand the firmness of one who has already confirmed their inheritance. Amen is not the end. Amen is the beginning of manifestation. It is the certification that the work is already complete, even if human eyes do not see it. And from this moment, if you have the courage to seal your desires with this word and do not retreat, you will see within 24 hours that the external world bows to the internal decree. And when that happens, you will never again live as victims. You will live as creators. How many times have you found yourself surrounded by thoughts of doubt? It's as if an insistent, cruel inner voice tries to sabotage every confident step you take. You decide to believe you can prosper, but then comes the whisper. What if it doesn't work out? What if it's just imagination? What if you're deceiving yourself? This battle is not against people, nor against external circumstances. This war happens within you, and it is the natural mind trying to tie you to the old state, the state of limitation. It doesn't easily accept a new vision because it has been conditioned to trust only what the eyes see and what the senses prove. But it is precisely at this point that the word I give you becomes an invincible weapon. Amen. When doubt appears, most people tend to argue with it. The mind begins to question, and you respond by trying to explain, trying to convince, trying to bring logic to what is spiritual. And the more you argue, the more strength you give to the thought that should be silenced. The secret is not to argue, the secret is to seal. Instead of spending energy justifying why you believe, simply end the conversation with a decree. Amen. This word has the power to close the door, like someone locking a dark room so that nothing else can emerge from it. It cuts the cycle of doubt and establishes that what has been assumed is already confirmed. Consider this. You desire prosperity. The apparent reality is one of scarcity, perhaps even accumulated bills. You look at your bank balance and your mind screams, "It is impossible to change this quickly, there's no way." Normally you would try to think positive, or search for proof that it's possible, but the path is different. To each accusation from the mind, you respond internally. Amen. So it is already signed in the invisible. There is no more room for negotiation. You don't argue with the bank, you don't argue with logic. You seal it like someone striking the gavel in court and closing the case. This conscious use of Amen tricks the natural mind because it expects a justification. It wants you to show it external proof to shut it up. But when you surprise it with a definitive answer, without explanation, just the seal, it no longer finds fertile ground. It loses its strength, and at that instant, your energy, which was previously wasted in internal discussions, begins to be used to sustain the vision of what you desire. The silence that Amen generates within is the space where the miracle begins to manifest. Imagine a person signing a sales contract. Before the signature, there are questions, doubts, negotiations, but the moment the pen marks the paper and the signature is made, it's over. There's no more conversation. It is signed. This is exactly how Amen works in the practice of imagination. Doubt may persist, but you have already stamped it. Amen. The invisible contract has been affirmed. The mind may even grumble, but it no longer has the power to change what has been sealed. And here is what few understand. The speed of manifestation depends on the firmness with which you seal your thoughts. Those who debate with doubt prolong the process. Those who immediately close the door with the seal of Amen shorten the path. That is why many things move in 24 hours. Because you did not allow the natural mind to grow roots of uncertainty. You did not feed the wavering. You simply sealed it, and the invisible, which is obedient, immediately began to work to align circumstances. So the next time doubt comes, don't explain, don't argue, don't plead. Respond only with the seal. Say internally, Amen. And remain silent, knowing that what has been sealed already is. This is the first move of authority, learning to end the conversation with the natural mind and not giving it the power to dictate your experience. Because where Amen exists, doubt no longer exists. And where there is no doubt, the miracle finds a swift path to manifest. Have you ever noticed that you often repeat beautiful words, affirmations, and even prayers, but feel that nothing truly changes? It's because the mind isn't convinced by sounds alone. It needs to be tricked by vivid images. Saying you believe in prosperity while inwardly seeing yourself in lack is like planting a seed in dry soil. No root can survive. The word Amen only reveals its strength when associated with a concrete inner vision. It's not enough to pronounce it. You must seal something that can already be seen within you. Close your eyes for an instant and see yourself exactly as you wish to be. See the bank statement with high figures. Imagine the deposit notification arriving on your phone. Feel your hands counting cash. Hear the sound of notes moving between your fingers. Don't imagine as someone watching a distant film. See yourself as the protagonist. Allow the scene to be so real in your mind that your body begins to react. Your heart accelerates, a smile appears, your breathing changes. It is at this moment that you declare internally, Amen. This word seals the scene and transforms it into fact. It is no longer in the realm of maybe someday, but in the domain of certainty. The common error is to use Amen automatically, as if it were just a period. But the true power lies in connecting it to a clear image, so strong that the natural mind cannot distinguish whether it is a memory or imagination. It simply accepts, and once accepted, it begins to organize the external world to correspond. The natural mind is limited, but imagination is infinite. When you seal a scene with Amen, there is no turning back. The decree has already been registered in the invisible. Many will say, but I tried to visualize and felt nothing. That's because they were forcing it. It's not about effort, but about surrender. Let the scene come gently, even if simple. You signing a contract, receiving a message, paying a bill without worry. And when this scene arises, however small, declare Amen. Feel that it is signed. This simplicity is what cuts the cycle of doubt. Each image sealed with Amen is like a seed planted in the invisible garden. Some germinate in minutes, others in hours, but all are destined to sprout because they were watered with certainty. And what accelerates the process is precisely conscious repetition. Each time the scene returns, each time you seal it again, you are fertilizing, reinforcing, deepening the root of manifestation. Therefore, do not limit the word to cold repetition. Use it as the hammer that fixes the vision in the inner world. See, feel, and then declare, Amen. If you do this, you will not just be saying a word, but signing a sentence in the court of the invisible. And such a sentence cannot be annulled. It must be fulfilled in the visible world. It is almost inevitable. After sealing a desire within yourself, the natural mind begins to look around for proof. You find yourself repeating, has anything changed? Is it coming already? Is it really going to happen? This impulse is the reflection of a consciousness still dependent on the external world. But here is the truth that few accept. Signs only appear after the inner seal, never before. The reflection does not anticipate the mirror's movement. First you assume within, then life reflects it externally. This is one of the biggest mistakes that delay manifestation. One says Amen in the morning, and by evening is already testing reality to see if there has been any response, like someone planting a seed and digging up the earth every hour to see if the root has sprouted. This behavior kills the process. The invisible does not move to prove to you that it is working. It moves to reflect the firm stance of one who no longer needs proof. When you seal inwardly, it's like signing a document. The signature already guarantees the contract, even before delivery. You don't beg the registry office to show you it's registered, you know. And this certainty is what opens the way for changes to appear quickly. Amen works exactly like this. It closes the case before your eyes can see any evidence. When you say Amen, you are affirming that you do not depend on signs to believe. You are decreeing that the invisible has already accepted the request, and that the visible world will merely follow the inevitable script. He who understands this stops monitoring circumstances and begins to monitor only their inner posture. Think of someone who needs money and seals their vision of abundance with Amen. If an unexpected bill appears the same day, the natural reaction would be to say, see, nothing has changed. But this is the test. This is the moment to remain unshakable and respond, Amen, it is already paid. Because what matters is not the external sign, but the internal seal. The external world is slow, dense. It needs time to reorganize itself. The invisible is instantaneous. The moment you seal, it is already done. The visible merely needs to align with the decree. The secret, therefore, is not to watch the world for indications. The secret is to rest in the seal. It is like trusting a package that has already been mailed. You don't see the package, but you know it's on its way because you received confirmation. Amen is that confirmation. Those who rush to seek signs demonstrate that they have not truly sealed. But those who seal and rest invariably see the miracle materialize in a few hours or days. Therefore, when the mind begins to press for proof, silence it firmly. Declare, Amen, and proceed as one who already possesses. This is true faith, not looking outward, but remaining unshakable within. And the result is inevitable. Sooner or later, and often in less than 24 hours, the external world will bow its knee before what was affirmed in your imagination. Have you noticed how the world always seems to want to strip away the confidence you've just embraced? Just decide you're going to prosper, and someone will come talking about a crisis. Just seal a vision of abundance, and an unexpected bill knocks at your door. The old state always tries to call your attention back. It is at this moment that most falter, because they let the external dictate the tone of the internal. But here is the key. Amen is not just a word to use in silence after visualizing. It is also a living response that needs to accompany every step of your day. When someone tells you it's difficult, the economy is broken, you don't need to debate or try to prove anything. Just declare internally, Amen to my abundance. This response cuts the root of external suggestion and keeps you firm in your state. When an unexpected bill appears, instead of being filled with fear and feeling defeated, respond inwardly. Amen, it is already paid. The visible world thinks it can force you to bow, but it doesn't realize that you carry within you a word that ends any threat. Each time you use Amen in this way, you are driving invisible stakes of certainty. It's like hammering a tent into firm ground. Each blow fixes it deeper until nothing can knock it down. The daily Amen is that hammer. It prevents you from being swept away by news, opinions, momentary circumstances. It is the word that transforms every external attack into an internal confirmation. Because every time you seal again, you affirm that the visible does not command you. It merely obeys. Understand that the most subtle enemy is the repetition of the environment. Hearing about crisis every day, seeing bills every day, it is natural to believe that this is your destiny. But when you bring Amen into every situation, you create a new habit, a new reflex. The mind begins to get used to responding with certainty, not despair. And this conditioning changes your vibration, changes your posture, changes your harvest. The invisible finds free passage because there are no more interruptions of doubt. This active use of Amen during the day is the most practical way to trick the natural mind. You catch it by surprise, not allowing it to build stories of fear. You cut the narrative before it grows, and in this silence, this cut, the decree is free to operate. Therefore, do not reserve Amen only for moments of prayer or imagination. Bring it into your routine. Use it as a shield and a sword. Every thought of scarcity, every word of crisis, every bill that tries to haunt you must be answered with this seal. Make this a natural reflex, and you will see how life begins to adjust quickly. Because a mind that responds with Amen in every situation is a mind that does not negotiate with doubt. And faced with this firmness, the world has no choice. It must bow and deliver exactly what you have already confirmed. To live as one who has already sealed everything is to definitively abandon the posture of someone who asks, pleads, or waits for signs to then believe. It is to assume the position of one who has already signed an irrevocable contract in the invisible and now simply enjoys the certainty that the world has no choice but to comply. Many still use the word Amen as a timid plea to heaven, but the true power lies in transforming it into the final seal of all things. After declaring Amen, you do not continue to beg for the same desire. Just as no one who has already signed a valid document returns to the registry office to ask for new confirmation, once sealed, it is done. The role of faith is to live as one who has already received. This means walking, speaking, and reacting as one who already has what they asked for. If you sealed abundance, do not speak like a poor person. Do not react like one who lives at the mercy of luck. Every gesture must carry the posture of one who already possesses. When your senses scream that nothing has changed, remember, the mirror takes an instant to reflect the movement, but it cannot fail. The invisible is immediate. The visible merely follows with a delay. Your role is not to monitor the delay, but to sustain the seal. Here is a point few understand. Living as one who has already sealed means no longer negotiating with the natural mind. When it tries to raise doubts, you don't argue, you don't explain, you don't pray again. You simply rest in Amen. And resting doesn't mean doing nothing, but acting in the world with the confidence of one who already is. You pay a bill as one who knows there will be more provision. You go to work or to a negotiation as one who already carries victory. You respond to circumstances with serenity because you have already decreed the end of the story. This is the courage that transforms the atmosphere around you in 24 hours. The invisible moves quickly when it finds someone who no longer asks, but commands. And Amen is the silent command that cannot be reversed. Therefore, do not allow yourself to go back. Once the seal has been given, remain. Your posture is proof that you truly believed. He who continues to beg demonstrates that he signed nothing. He who seals and rests manifests. So the call is this: live as kings who have already issued their decree. Do not beg for approval. Do not wait for signs. Do not let yourselves be swayed by appearances. Everything is already written in the invisible, and the seal that guarantees it is simple and definitive. Amen. Each time you doubt, remember what has already been stamped. Each step you take it as one who already possesses. It is in this state that life bows, doors open, and money, opportunities, and miracles arrive so naturally that they will seem like coincidences. But you will know it was not by chance, it was the reflection of the seal. Everything you have heard so far points to a single truth. Life does not happen from the outside in, but from the inside out. The visible world is merely an echo, an inevitable reflection of what has been silently assumed in the heart. And the word I give you, Amen, is not a religious ornament, but the invisible seal that closes doubt and gives order to the invisible to manifest. When used consciously, it silences the natural mind, associates itself with vivid images of abundance, cuts off the need for signs, transforms into a firm response in the face of circumstances, and establishes the posture of one who already possesses. You are no longer authorized to live as beggars of life, imploring for external changes. That posture needs to die today. The call is to live as creators, as kings who decree with authority and rest in the certainty of the decree. Use Amen as the final hammer blow that seals what you desire. Use it to cut the cycle of doubt, to engrave the desired scene into the invisible, to respond to the provocations of the external world, and to walk as one who already has. From now on, every true desire that arises within you should not be treated with uncertainty, but sealed immediately with this word. Do not allow the natural mind to drag you back to wavering. The power lies in remaining firm in the seal, because what is affirmed in the invisible must by law manifest in the visible. So rise up, stop waiting for signs and begging for answers. Open your mouth, declare within yourself with conviction, and make Amen the irrevocable sentence of your life. Because when you seal in this way, the universe has no alternative. It bows, it obeys, it delivers. And you will see in less than a day that what seemed impossible was already written, already guaranteed, already alive within you. Amen is not the end. Amen is the beginning of manifestation.